Welcome everyone, Jason Paetow here again from AllianceCorp Property Experts. I've got a great video for you at the moment. This is all about whether you should be considering investing in some of our regional areas. Now, you may have seen some of the media reports about the exodus of a lot of people moving from our major capital cities to regional areas. So what we need to understand is this creating opportunities for investors? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a bit of a comparison of our major capital cities versus some of these regional areas. And we're first going to start with this graph. Now, before you consider investing in regional, the first thing that we have to identify is, first of all, what are your financial goals when building a property portfolio? What's your starting point? And what does your financial capacity look like in the eyes of the banks? It's these things that are very important, which really determine what sort of property strategies we look at, what sort of areas and what types of properties, etc. But one of the first things you'll notice with this graph, and this is looking at the last 5 years, the blue line represents the median price of properties in our major capital cities. The orange line there is the regional areas nationally. You'll notice that regional is not as volatile. We don't have the ebbs and flows like we do in our major capital cities. The other thing that you'll notice too is that if you average the growth over the last 5 years, these regional areas have outperformed our major capital cities by about 1 to 2%. And this comes as quite a surprise to a lot of people because you don't generally think that some of these regional areas can perform better. The other consideration is that rental yields are a lot better. Our major capital cities, your rental yields can be as low as 2.8% on houses, and in regional areas it can be as high as 4%. Now, this makes a big difference in terms of your cash flows. If you want a strategy there to generate positive cash flow and pay off some personal debt quicker, that works really well. But also those higher rental yields will help with your borrowing capacity to help you buy more property quicker and build that portfolio faster. The other big advantage is price point. And again, this is one of the biggest driving factors as to why a lot of people are moving from cities to regional. It's because it's more affordable. So your average median price on houses in your major capital cities is about $550. Now that's quite low when you compare that to, say, a Sydney or a Melbourne. But if you have a look at regional areas, it's as low as in around that sort of 400,000. So again, this is creating a lot of opportunity for people wanting to move there, but also investors who are looking to build their portfolio, but don't have the big budgets to buy properties in our major capital cities. Another interesting point is that particularly over the last 6 months, we have seen a significant spike in people moving from the city to regional. As you can see on the graph there, the orange representing regional areas, it's been positive pretty much across all states except for WA. If it wasn't for WA's results, you would have seen a lot more positive growth. The regional areas during this COVID period have achieved growth of about 2%, while our cities dropped by roughly 2%. Now, this is a real surprise because if you remember a lot of the media reports, and we reported a lot on this, that you've got to be very careful about clickbait advertising and things like that. They were talking about property busts of 20 to 30%, right? And it just didn't happen. So very interesting there. Now, the major capital cities were impacted a lot more severely, and that's why the regional areas tend to do a lot better during that period. Now, although there is a spike, and you can see how this is represented here as well, across our major capital cities with most people sort of moving out of Melbourne and Sydney, it's interesting there that Brisbane actually had positive migration. A lot of the results here have been driven by COVID, and we know that there's been a bit of a spike there in our major capital cities. You can see here from Melbourne, if we have a closer look, you can see there from the graph, the diagram there, almost 6,000 people moved out of Melbourne recently into these regional areas. So the question is this going to continue? Is there a trend? Well, absolutely, because if you have a look at the graph there now on your screen, you can see that over the last 10 years, and again, this is Melbourne, that consistently we're seeing an increase of people wanting to move into these regional areas. Now, some of the regional areas that have performed very well are places like Ballarat, Bendigo, Orange, the Central Coast, Sunshine Coast, and Mackay. So guys, in summary, there's some great opportunity for you there to consider investing in regional, and I certainly recommend that you have a look. The main reasons is affordability, whether it's someone wanting to move into these areas or you as an investor don't have the big budgets or you want to buy lots of properties quite quickly, that's a great opportunity there. It's obviously less volatile. If you don't like the big ebbs and swings, if you want to see more consistent returns over time, you might want to consider regional. The returns are comparable. If you look at rental yields, they're actually a lot better, but also capital growth can be achieved in those areas, and certainly those high yields go a long way in terms of generating cash flow positive income to pay off your debts or improve your borrowing capacity. So this is an area that we specialise in our business. We have a national business of educating people about the various strategies in both our cities and regional areas, and certainly we can help you buy into those areas, whether you're buying established properties, new properties, off-the-plan properties. But the first thing I recommend that you do is keep learning. So we have a lot of property reports on these various locations. So click on the button below to book one of your complimentary property strategy sessions with one of our senior property coaches, and we're happy to give you as much information as we have available to help you make that decision as to whether you need to be considering regional, and I certainly recommend you have a closer look. Thank you.